Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness unto light, lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. And please sit straight and relaxed. Closing your eyes, we will begin this meditation with the Om chanting at your own pace for a minute. Sitting relaxed, sitting straight. We will do the body scan relaxation. I will name the part of the body, visualize that it is relaxed. During the whole exercise, do not be rigid. If you feel need to adjust to cough or sneeze, it's all right. Main thing is to be relaxed and free and open. Breathing normally, in breath, out breath, normal. Left foot, relax. Left lower leg, relax. Left upper leg, relax. Whole left leg relaxed. Right foot, relax. Right lower leg, relax. Upper leg, relax. Whole right leg, relaxed. Waist, relaxed. Tummy, relax. Chest, relax. Lower back, relax. Upper back, relax. Left hand, relax. Left lower arm, relaxed. Upper arm, relaxed. Whole left arm, relax. Right hand, relax. Right upper arm, relax. Right lower arm, relax. Whole right arm, relax. Left shoulder, relax. Right shoulder, relax. Neck, relax. Back of the head, relax. Top of the head, relax. Forehead, relax. Right eyebrow, relax. Left eyebrow, relax. Right eyelid, relax. Left eyelid, relax. Right eyeball, relaxed. left eyeball relaxed, nose relaxed, left cheek relaxed, right cheek relaxed, left ear relaxed, right ear relaxed, tongue in the mouth relax, upper lip relaxed, lower lip relaxed, upper jaw, lower jaw relaxed, chin relaxed, whole face relaxed, whole lower body relaxed, upper body relaxed, whole body relaxed, whole body relaxed. Breathing normally. Listen to the sounds in the room. Listen to the sounds outside the room, distant sounds, nearby sounds. Do not follow any sound, do not resist any sound. Like clouds on a vast blue sky, let the sounds pass through your awareness. I am the awareness in which these sounds are rising and falling. Listen to the sounds. Listen to the silence. Sounds and silence between the sounds. Listen. Breathing normally. Just listen. Listen to the silence. As we listen to the sound, listen to the silence also. Witness of sound, witness of silence. You are the great silence. You illumine sound, you illumine silence also. That which illumines sound is beyond the sound, is the witness of sound. That which illumines silence is a greater silence. You are that great silence. Gently open your eyes, look at your lap. And you look up slowly. See, that is silence. I was waiting for that to come, didn't come. Should have waited one more minute. See, that is silence. You are that which experiences that silence. Consciousness is that which experiences the deepest silence. Then consciousness is deeper than, is more silent than the deepest silence. Visualize where you are not seeing anything. You do not hear anything, do not feel anything, do not taste or touch anything. You don't think anything, don't remember anything, don't desire, don't try to understand anything. Drop everything. That blankness, absolute restful stillness, blankness, you are the witness of that also. So how much deeper a silence you are, your real nature, our real nature. What can speech do? Speech can reveal objects. What objects? This physical world, speech can reveal that. Can reveal means can refer to that, you can speak about it. Speech can also reveal subtle objects, thoughts, emotions, memories, you can talk about that also. But speech cannot reveal our real nature as consciousness. Swami, you are literally using the word consciousness. True, but actually when you use the word consciousness, what does it really mean? It means our conscious experiences. That's why in consciousness studies, they talk about feeling, perceptions, memories, sensations, all our first-person conscious experiences. That's the realm of consciousness studies, for good reason, because that's what you can talk about. That's also what you can investigate. But here is something that's not pure consciousness itself. Here's something I want us to think about. It's a subtle point, but very simple and direct. When we say first-person experience, all our life is first-person experience. What is the language we use? It feels like something. So, tasting, say, you're drinking lemonade. It feels like something to taste lemonade. Heat, it feels like something to feel hot, cold, hungry, full, sleepy, alert, beautiful fall colors. It feels like something to see that. This is called first-person experience. But this itself is not consciousness. What is this? This is still consciousness plus object. Where in the very language we are using, the words we are using for describing this, what does it feel like to see the gorgeous fall colors? Feel like something. There's already an object involved here. Notice, it feels like something keeps changing for us. When you look there, it feels like something to see those colors. When you close your eyes, it feels like something to not to see. When you feel the temperature on your skin, it feels like something. So what it feels like keeps changing. But what is common to all of them? It feels like. And even that is not consciousness. That's made possible because of consciousness. We can only try to point out what is it we are talking about. Let me try another way. All objects here, if I ask you to make a catalog of what you are experiencing, what you are seeing, literally seeing. See in the table, you'll say, I see the bell, I see the book, I see the table itself, I see the bottle and the phone and the microphone setup. I'll say you're missing out one thing. What is it? Light. Light. You are seeing the book plus light.
Literally, it's the light which is coming to you. You are seeing the phone and the bell and the bottle and the microphone and the table plus light. It's the same light illumining all of this. If you remove them, the same light will be here. If you put another set of objects, the same light will be illumining them. So when you see this, it is object plus light. Exactly like that, in all our experiences, it is an object plus consciousness, the consciousness. And language cannot reveal you, the consciousness. Why not? We have discussed this a number of times. Shankaracharya's beautiful analysis, you find it in the Mandukya Upanishad 7th mantra, Avyapadeshyam, non-designatable by language. Why can't the consciousness, you, us, why our reality cannot be designated by language? Why? Shankaracharya asks, what can language do? Jati, guna, karma, sambandha, rudhi. 5 things. If any one of them is present, language will work. Class. He gives a classic example. This is a cow. How do you use the language cow? Because there's a class of animals called cow. We have agreed upon what constitutes a cow, and it's a class. It includes all of these individuals. You'd see one more individual, you use the class designator. Set. It's our set theory. You use it to say that it belongs to the set of cows. But consciousness does not belong to a set of anything. There is no set of consciousness. It is one and non-dual. Where will you find instances of it and make a group? You cannot. Then quality, jati, guna. One other way of designating things is by quality. So when you look at that, and I say, bring me the red one, the red flower. The moment I said red flower, you noticed among them there is white flowers, yellow and pink flowers, and there is a red flower. You immediately understand what I'm talking about. What did I do? I used the quality of that, the color of that flower, to bring out that. So, quality. Can we use quality to speak about consciousness? We cannot, because consciousness is supposed to be pure consciousness, Atman, Brahman. Pure in the sense, actually, literally it means no quality, no characteristic. Every characteristic is objective, because characteristics have to be revealed by consciousness. So, consciousness itself does not have any characteristics. Existence, consciousness, bliss, these are not the characteristics of that reality. They are that reality, because Vivekananda says, it's not that it exists, it is existence itself. It's not that, it's like gold and the ornaments. The necklace is golden, but gold, is gold golden? No. So, that it exists, it is aware, it's not that it knows, it is knowledge itself. It's not that it is happy, it's happiness itself. So these are not characteristics. So no characteristics are there. You cannot use guna, characteristics, to indicate consciousness. And then karma, activity. Surely you can use consciousness to indicate activity. We are all conscious beings, we do so much activity. But all the activity belongs to the instruments, to the body, to the senses, to the mind and intellect, not to consciousness itself. For this you don't need Advaita. Sankhya realized it long ago. The Sankhya and Purusha is just shines. It's perfectly useless. It just shines. No, but because of it, every activity takes place. But it's itself not, no activities you can point to. Except first person experience, and that's not an activity. That is whatever is presented, that is illumined. So, karma, if you point out, congratulate the cook for the delicious dishes. So cook is the person whose activity, by activity you are identifying the person. With what activity will you identify consciousness? Nothing. You can't. Another way of using language is sambandha, relationship. Teacher and student. Parents and children, the relationship. But immediately you can see consciousness does not have any relationship with anything else. Why? Because there is no second entity. To have a relationship, you need 2 entities at least. A relationship is defined in Nyaya as dvinishtha sambandha. Relationship exists between 2 terms at least. But there is no 2 in consciousness, so you cannot have relationship. And then there is one more way of using words, which is called rudhi, conventional designation. Conventional designation is just by naming. What I mean by that, when I name this person, say Vasu, he's right here. Now I have been able to point out, everybody looks at, oh, so that is Vasu. But if I say, Ram, you're all looking, you're not looking at anybody particularly. Where is Ram? Naming the word, you can give a word for something without any particular connotation, but you can just give a word and name somebody. But that will not work. Can't we just give a name? Atman, Brahman, consciousness. Can't we just name it? It will not work. I had to point out who is Vasu. This is called ostensive definition. Ostensive definition is by pointing out the entity to be defined, the entity to be named. This is Vasu, everybody agrees. Okay, this is Vasu. But if you say, this is consciousness, which? What? You can't point it out. So, indirectly only pointing out is possible. All of Vedanta is that indirect pointing only. Whatever we have been trying to do is indirectly point to something already present here, but you have to catch it yourself. So, speech cannot reveal the reality, which is consciousness, Atman, Brahman. Then he will say, can speech reveal this world? I forget about Atman, Brahman, at least this speech can reveal this world. No, it cannot give you the reality about this world. The speech is inadequate to give you the reality. Speech then has a functional purpose. That means it enables us to conduct our transactions, live our day-to-day life. It's a very useful instrument. But speech cannot reveal reality. So in Indian philosophy, there are these two views. On one end are schools like Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Purva, Mimamsaka, who are realists, which say that the world exists other than our consciousness. There is a real world out there and we are conscious beings in that world. This is called realism, which is very fashionable now, and it was also very fashionable thousands of years ago. The realists, that's on one hand, and on the other hand are Advaitins, Buddhists, who consider in different ways the world to be an appearance. Now the realist will always say language is valid, it works to reveal reality. Language is not only an instrument for our day-to-day transactions, but it will reveal the reality. By language we can reveal reality. So Naiyayikas, Vaisheshikas, this language reveals reality. If it is reality is that which is revealed by language. If you say Vedantin beyond language, that means it's unreal. And the Vedantins and the Buddhists will say language does not reveal reality. Reality is always beyond language. Even this so-called empirical reality. If you try to describe it, you will still feel it slips out of your capacity. So is language useless? Not at all useless. It is useful for the purpose for which we use it. To transact our business, to live our lives. It's really useful for life. It's a very powerful tool for life, but it's not a tool for enlightenment. Only indirectly language can help in enlightenment. So that is what was said here in verses number 107 tells us language cannot reveal the ultimate reality, pure consciousness. Then number 8 and 9. Let us do that. That will tell us language cannot reveal our transactional reality, world also. That also, the reality about it cannot be revealed. What is the reality about this world according to Vedanta? Anirvachaniya. It cannot be expressed as actually existing or as non-existing. Number 108 and 9. Vacho yasman nivartante. Vacho yasman nivartante. Tadvaktum kena shakyate. Tadvaktum kena shakyate. Prapancho yadi vaktavya. Prapancho yadi vaktavya. Sopi shabda vivarjitaha. Sopi shabda vivarjitaha. Iti va tadbhavet maunam. Iti va tadbhavet maunam. Satam sahaja sangitam. Satam sahaja sangitam. Gira maunam tu balanam. Gira maunam tu balanam. Prayuktam brahmavadibhihi. Prayuktam brahmavadibhihi. So vacho yasman nivartante tadvaktum kena shakyate. From which speech rebounds, unable to reveal it. What is that? Brahman, Atman, you, your reality. It cannot be made an object of speech. And prapancho yadi vaktavya. All right, suppose I want to express the reality of this world. There also, speech cannot express it adequately. So we are trying to, but there's no other way other than speech to express it. Notice, long ago, physicists, scientists have moved away from speech to mathematics. You cannot express in words. Your more precise understanding requires mathematics. Language, that's another kind of language. Even there are limitations. So, this is real silence. What we normally mean by silence in yoga? Not speaking, keeping quiet. Whereas real silence is your reality, which cannot be expressed by speech. In any way, speech cannot express it. And speech cannot express the reality of this world appearance also. Iti va tad bhavet maunam. This is real maunam. This is silence. Sahaja sangitam. This is natural silence. This is silence even while talking. So there's that name tag of the monk I saw, in silence, and he flips it around and he talks. Funny story, I'll tell you later. It should not be online. So, even in the midst of speech, that silence is there. What is that silence? Consciousness, which you are. In the midst of speech also. All words emerge from there. Gira maunam tu balanam prayuktam brahmavadibhihi. So here is Shankaracharya's humor. It says the silence which you think about, that what we knew, keeping quiet, not speaking, so this is for children. This is for children. What do teachers do? Primary school teachers do? They come into a room full of screaming youngsters, running around, jumping, shouting. And what does the teacher say? Keep quiet, sit down, sit. That's just to quieten them so that he or she can start teaching. So that is the value of the silence of speech. To quieten the mind for a minute, for a few minutes, so that one can focus. Real silence is your real nature, pure consciousness. Then number 110. Adau vante cha madhye cha, adau vante cha madhye cha, jano yasmin na vidyate, jano yasmin na vidyate, yenedam satatam vyaptam, yenedam satatam vyaptam, sadesho vijana smritaha, sadesho vijana smritaha. That solitude is known as space, wherein the universe does not exist in the beginning, end or middle, but whereby it is pervaded all the time. So solitude. In spiritual life, once one becomes spiritual, one characteristic is one always wants to go away into solitude. There's a reason. There's a reason. Worldliness is where we are very invested in this world, so we want to be with the world. But solitude is where we are turning to a spiritual reality, God, the Atman, the Buddha nature, whatever you call it. So the tendency is to turn away from the world. And that's why we seek solitude. People turn to spiritual life for peace. And the world is disturbing, so you turn away from the world. And you go away to an ashram, to Star Lake retreat, to a mountain top. I remember one senior monk, when our monks would go and say to him, Swami, I need some permission to go to the Himalayas and to meditate. And he would say, sign of a disturbed mind. He's right. What is it with you that you cannot find peace and quiet in the middle of a great monastery? What ails you? Think about it. So, solitude, we seek solitude. Now, I'm going to read you a poem about solitude. I'd read it long ago, I suddenly remembered. Emily Dickinson. The name of the poem is There's the Solitude of Space. So she wants to say, a vast open space. You can stand out there and look out if you're alone. You find a solitude in the vastness. That is one. Deeper solitude, she says, the solitude of the ocean, of the sea. Imagine a lone sailor. There are sometimes these crazy adventurers, they go around the world on a little rickety little boat. So sailing out there, hundreds of miles around, not a single human being is there anywhere. And you're on a little boat. It's only the vast sky and the thundering the waves and the endless depths, and you are alone. There's a deep solitude there. And you know it will last for days, if not weeks. There's a deeper solitude, she says, Emily Dickinson, even deeper than that, the solitude of death. A beloved one has now passed, suppose. Now for a few moments you sit with the body of the person who has deceased or passed. There's a deep solitude there. This life which was so close and beloved to us, no longer we will see. And you sit there, everybody has left, you sit with that person. There's a deep solitude there. And then she says, Emily Dickinson, all of this, solitude of space, even deeper solitude of the ocean, the seas, the solitude of death, she says this is like society, this is like noise, this is like disturbance compared to that polar solitude of a soul turned, admitted into itself. There's a real solitude of the soul turned into itself. Let me read out the poem. This is called, there's a solitude of space, Emily Dickinson. There is a solitude of space, a solitude of sea, a solitude of death. But these society shall be compared with that profounder sight, that polar privacy, a soul admitted to itself, finite infinity. Soul admitted to itself, finite infinity. You are finite, there's no doubt about it, we are one. But when you admit it into yourself, the turning inwards, this is another way of pointing it. It's a pointing out, it's true. It's a soul admitted to itself. It's a very nice way. It shows a deep spiritual insight. She definitely had it. And that last phrase, finite infinity. And she calls it a polar privacy. A polar privacy. And that polar privacy, that finite infinity is continuously available to us. It's continuously available to us. Where? In the marketplace of the world. In the middle of the marketplace, in Manhattan, in the busiest streets there, and on the Himalayan heights, it's available to us. At a moment's notice, we can have it. So that is what he's saying. Ādau ante cha madhye cha jano yasmin vidyate. In that polar privacy, in that limitless awareness, that unshakable, undisturbable stillness, there is no universe. There is no universe. The beginning of the universe is not, at the beginning it's not there, in the middle also it's not there, at the end is not there. Beginning means at the creation of the universe. There is no universe. Middle means when the universe exists like this, there is no universe. At the end, when the universe disappears, there is no universe. Beginning, middle and end is no universe. Where is the crowd? Where is the disturbance? It is you and you alone throughout. With eyes open, you. With eyes closed, you. Or for the devotee, with eyes open, eyes closed, my beloved Lord, everywhere. Who else is there in this world? That one Mataji had met in the Himalayas. So she used to feed everybody and say everybody is Gopala, everybody is my child Gopala. But people would come and disturb all kinds of people. So one day she had fever and somebody came, Mataji khilaiye, and please feed us Mataji. And she got up and started making chapatis and fed. And somebody asked her later on, don't you get irritated by all these people who come and make demands upon you? It's unfair. And she's not escapist. She understands everybody. She says, in Hindi she said, हाँ बाबा बहुत तरह के लोग आते हैं, लेकिन बाबा सब गोपाल हैं. Yes, my child, all kinds of people come here. Means she understands, some are considerate, some are not considerate. But my child, all are Gopala. It's Gopal in various forms. And it's not something that she's practicing. It's something that's very natural to her. So she does not find disturbance in what we would consider disturbance. This is the way to seek peace. Not to keep on eliminating every source of disturbance outside. That way you become more and more sensitive, even the slightest thing can disturb you then. Be peaceful in the marketplace, you will have samadhi when you sit for meditation. You can't find peace in the quietest resort, God help you. Be tough-minded that way. What is the way to find peace? Not by seeking peace. And Vivekananda tells us by seeking strength. If you're a strong person, physically, vitally, mentally, intellectually, morally, then only strong spiritually, you will find peace. Everywhere you will find peace. In the middle of trouble also you will find peace. If you seek peace, nowhere will you find peace. For the weak there is no peace. For the immoral there is no peace. For the worldly there is no peace. For the extroverted there is no peace. For those who dwell in the appearance there is no peace. You're centered in awareness, centered in reality, you have peace. So this is a clue. What is the yogic solitude? You go away to a mountain, go to a prayer hall and meditate. And remember, one thing I want to point out is, Shankaracharya is not mocking the yogic practices. What he's saying is, those are good and those are helpful for settling and stilling the mind. But here is something deeper, higher, a greater insight into the reality which you are after all seeking. Your aim is not to sit in a hut in a mountain top. Your aim is not to stop speaking all the time. Your aim is, not to give up everything and put on a loincloth and wander around. All of those you are doing all of that. Why? In order to realize God, in order to realize yourself, become enlightened. That is what is being pointed out. That enlightenment has the characteristics of all of these. So, this is a clue to non-dual meditation. In the midst of the marketplace of the world, you have the deepest peace. In the beginning of spiritual life, we seek solitude. That's very good. As somebody said, I love humanity, but it's people that I can't stand. We seek solitude. People disturb us. But as we advance in spiritual life, we should not have that kind of a hang-up. We should be comfortable with people and without people. There are those in the beginning who are not comfortable unless they have company. You can't bear to be alone. You always have to be with people. Not at all good. Why? Because alone means, in whose company am I? In my company. I can't bear to be alone means I can't bear my own company. Then why should anybody else bear your company? I don't like myself. I don't like being alone. So I like being alone. I'm perfectly all right when I'm alone. And I'm perfectly all right when I'm in the middle of people. I do not depend upon the crowd for my psychological sustenance. I do not crave the solitude, nor do I fear the solitude. I met this monk, I've told you earlier also, in the high Himalayas, delighted with the little children running around him and everything playing. And so I said, you are very happy now, but in the 6 months of the wintry freeze, when everything is snow and ice all around and howling winds and utter loneliness, how do you live then when there's none of these people around? And he said, Ab main maje mein hu Mahatma ji, tab aur bhi maje mein hu. I am very happy now, O monk. And then I am even happier when nobody is around. Sri Ramakrishna would be delighted in the middle of crowds. But you see his Divine Mother reflected in so many faces, the same consciousness shining through so many eyes. It's wonderful. It's like this, or like chandeliers. Then the next one. Time. So some times are suitable for meditation. 111. Kalanat sarva bhutanam, kalanat sarva bhutanam,
ब्रह्मादीनां निमेषतः ब्रह्मादीनां निमेषतः कालशब्देन निर्दिष्टो कालशब्देन निर्दिष्टो यखण्डानन्दको यखण्डानन्दकोऽद्वयः अखण्डानन्दकोऽद्वयः. Very deep metaphysical definition of time. That non-dual Brahman, that is indivisible bliss, is denoted by the word time, since it brings into existence in the twinkling of an eye all beings from Brahma downwards. What does time do? In time, all things begin. They have their birth, their production, their appearance. In time, all things persist through time. And in time, everything dies, everything is destroyed, everything disappears. That's what time does. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, when he shows his Vishwarupa Darshan to the people, to Arjuna, he says, I come time, the destroyer of worlds. Oppenheimer quoted it when he saw the first atom bomb explosion. I come time, the destroyer of worlds. Here he says, what is real time? Not real time as we know. The deep philosophical meaning of time is the ultimate reality. In our time as we experience it, things appear, exist and disappear. But Brahman is that which in a twinkling of an eye, instantly, everything appears and everything disappears. Here is a clue into non-dual meditation, which you can think about and try. Here is this. Can you see the bowl? Take a look. What do you think? You can see the bowl? Yes. See the bowl. Can you see brass? Yes? In the twinkling of an eye? Even faster than that? You can see a bowl and you can see it's brass. From the brass, can you manifest it as a bowl right now? Yes, it's brass only. But what about the bowl? Yes, it's a bowl. In the twinkling of an eye. What did you do? But you did something. You switched between the cause and the effect. This is cause is brass, material. In cause I mean the material, this one is brass. And the form, name, this is of the brass, it is called bowl. This thing is bowl. This is called Karya Drishti, Karana Drishti. Karya Drishti, bowl. Effect perspective or effect vision. Causal vision, brass. When you see it as brass, the bowl has disappeared. When you see it as bowl, the brass has gone into the background, receded. Similarly, for the enlightened one, it is as easy as that to make the world disappear and to make the world appear. So Bhairava, the guardians of Shiva, another name of Shiva also the attendants of Shiva are called Bhairava. They have this power to manifest the universe and make the universe disappear. Bharanat, Ravanat, Vamanat. Bhairava. This is the inner meaning of. This is not from Advaita, it's from Kashmiri Shaivism. Vamanat to project out. Bharanat to support. Ravanat to dissolve again. How does Bhairava do that? Here's the beauty of it. In a twinkling of an eye. When Bhairava opens the eye, the universe is manifest. When Bhairava closes the eye, the universe disappears. What is this eye? It is the eye of knowledge. It's exactly what you did with the brass bowl. When you see it as brass, with the eye of knowledge, bowl has disappeared. Because, remember, we did that yesterday, every bit of it is brass. There is no such thing, no entity called a bowl as such. When we say, but isn't it, what, aren't you holding a bowl? Yes, but that depending on the brass, I'm holding the bowl. Not a bowl by itself. So when you open the eyes, when the Bhairava opens the eyes, it is bowl. When Bhairava closes the eyes, it is brass. It's the eye of knowledge. Karana Drishti, Karya Drishti. Karana Drishti, causal vision. Brass. Causal vision. Existence, consciousness, bliss. Effect vision. Universe, people, human beings here. In a twinkling of an eye. So that is time. Just like ordinary time creates, maintains and destroys all entities, Brahman creates, maintains and destroys all, but time takes time to do it. Brahman can do it in an instant.
And the enlightened one also can. Bhairava can do it in an instant. You can do it in an instant. You can do it for the whole world, dream world in an instant. You can do it for a movie world when you're watching a cinema. You can immerse yourself. You can cry with the tragedies of the hero. You can laugh with the comedies. You can immerse yourself and react and enjoy the whole thing as if it's real. But in an instant, you can pull out of it. Instant, because it's a movie for you.
When we wake up,
Yes.
so the world just appears, right? It's not like we are creating the world.
No. Right. It appears. Ashtavakra says, no, it is Avadhuta Gita. It says that the world and this body are presented to us at once. Either I am all of it or none of it. What do we normally do? I am this one and that is the world. Mistake. On what logic? Just because it feels like that and we are used to it. Either I am all of it, whatever is presented, or none of it. I am consciousness and it is appearing in all these ways. This is called Karya Drishti. Or I am consciousness alone, all of this is erased, even while seeing it. This is Karana Drishti. That is time. This is a doorway to non-dual meditation. You maintain non-duality even while experiencing the world of duality, of plurality. All right. Let me just quickly take a quick dip into deep metaphysical waters and then pull out, and then we will take some questions because we don't have too much time. Back to the bell and the sound. In me, the awareness, just notice the arising, playing around and disappearance of the sound of the bell. We shall use this to answer this great question. What is the relationship between consciousness and object? What is the relationship between you and everything else? The real you, consciousness. Everything else means your own thoughts and personality, your own body, and everything else in this world, living and non-living. What is the relationship? And we will see. We will see. Take a dip into it. Through the entire gamut of Indian philosophy. So one relationship, one way of looking at it is consciousness and object. Let me do that here. One is, consciousness has come from the object. Who says, let me show you all of them. Consciousness, object has come from consciousness. Come means produced. Consciousness and object are parallel realities. Both exist and interact. Consciousness and object are both false. How do I show false? Appearance. And consciousness, an object is that which appears in consciousness. Object is that which appears in consciousness. 5 alternatives. The first one, let me say, first one, object has produced consciousness. Who says that? Rama says it. A doctor, a neuroscientist, a modern materialist, a physiologist, many consciousness studies experts, they will say, object, body, your consciousness, all this you're talking about is nonsense. It's produced by the body. The body is the nervous system and the brain, by some method, they produce consciousness. You are being generated by these activities of the brain. That's it. And when the body dies, brain dies, consciousness is gone, lights out, finished. None of your Advaita will work there. You're gone. I am consciousness, body is coming and going. No, 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 no. When the body goes, you are gone. Because the body is the substrate, substrate of consciousness. It produces consciousness. Object produces awareness. Then, and there are whole issues. For example, what big problem can you see in this approach? It is nowadays, it's very clear. It's the hard problem of consciousness. Show me how. Show me how. Yeah. Then the next one is consciousness produces the object. So there is consciousness existing. Who says this? Any theistic religion. God produces the universe. God produces the universe. Every theistic religion says God is the creator. Whoever believes in God, one thing they'll believe in. God is the creator of everything. And your God, this is a philosophical way of putting it, your God is an intelligent God, right? A conscious God. Yes, of course, not unconscious. So God is producing the object, this entire objective universe. And there are problems with that. Primarily, yesterday we saw Alan Watts, the crackpot theory. If you remove all the object and there is some God outside, where? How will you prove such a God? You take away this brass pot and say there is something called brass apart from it, which has produced this brass pot. No, you can't find it out. Then the other one is, so this is theistic religion. Most theistic, both Hindu, Judeo-Christian religion, all of them, they say this. Then the Sankhyan, the yoga school, they say consciousness and matter are, consciousness object are parallel realities. Purusha, Prakriti. Like light and object. Together they come together and produce experience. Purusha, Prakriti. This is very logical and it's the most ancient view. Now it has become again popular thanks to David Chalmers and a few others, Bernardo Kastrup, Donald Hoffman. These are people I met recently. I mean, online we had discussions. Now, Donald Hoffman and all is against this panpsychism, but another version of that basically. This is called panpsychism. That as this universe is there, time, space, matter, fundamental forces of nature, also consciousness is a fundamental reality and it interacts with material reality. I could have told them that it is the oldest theory of consciousness. Kapila of Sankhya, Swami Vivekananda says he is the first philosopher of the human race, thousands of years ago. He said this. But then there's a problem with this also. What is the problem? Interactionism. How do two entirely different things, consciousness and matter, how do they interact? In our modern world, this is the Cartesian mind-body duality problem. For the last 400 years, since Descartes, who made a clear distinction between mind and body, but how they interact? Then one guest we have got, these are all, I would say more or less Charvaka, Hindu philosophies and also. The guest is from the Buddhist philosophy, the emptiness people. They will say, neither consciousness is produced by object, nor object is produced by consciousness, nor are they interacting. Both are empty. How? These are two schools are there. There is mind-only school and emptiness school. Both of them say they rise and fall together. Technically, the Sanskrit term is sahopalambha. Together they rise and fall. Dependent origination. So, like Chandrakirti uses the example of two bales of hay leaning against each other. Knock out one, the other one falls. Knock out this object, no consciousness. So no, in deep sleep there is consciousness but no object. That is your make-believe. After waking up, you are because you want consciousness to be there continuously, that's why you are doing some little back calculation and putting it. We Advaitins say there is consciousness in deep sleep also. They will say, not at all. So they rise and fall together. What's wrong with this? If you ask me, nothing. So it's all right. But if you want to find fault, it leads to nihilism. Nothing exists. It's not a fair way of dealing with it because it's much more sophisticated than that. But basically, why I'm not stopping with this is, even though I think this is all right, is that this actually leads to this. What is the Advaita view? Object appears in consciousness. Object is not produced by consciousness. Not that consciousness pops out an object. No, it appears in consciousness. Object definitely does not create consciousness. Object and consciousness are not two different things which are interacting, because you can never prove the object without the consciousness. And object and consciousness are not both empty, because it will lead to nothing in that case. So some experience is going on. That means definitely consciousness is there. Consciousness is self-proved. An object proof depends on consciousness. Object is always appearing in consciousness. Now, What I want us to do is listen to the bell and consider these alternatives. In me, the awareness, the sound is experienced. Did the sound produce me, the awareness? What do you think? No, not the first alternative. The bell is not producing you. You say that's ridiculous, that little bell. I, the awareness, am I producing sounds? No. Is there a sound and a consciousness and two have now come into contact? There's no way of proving that. Because I would have to prove the sound before to say that it existed other than my consciousness. But you can't do that without impossible. You can't do it without consciousness. How will you prove that there is a sound without being conscious of it? Actually, even without going into Advaita, where is the sound? Is there a sound in this entity? When I strike it and the vibrations go through the air, is that a sound or there are vibrations in the air? Vibrations in the air. Is there a sound in the vibration of the tissues in the ear? No. Is there a sound in the electrical activity in the brain? If somebody puts their ear to your skull, can they hear the sound? No. Is it ringing in there? No. There is the sound only in you, the consciousness, this sound. Nowhere else you can discover it. No instrument will hear the sound. Only you, consciousness, hears the sound. They will register physical movements, physical disturbances, instruments, but nobody will hear the sound. Even the smartest AI cannot hear the sound. So, this is, it's not that sound and consciousness exist separately and they interact. Sound and sound consciousness rise and fall at the same time. But you, the consciousness, did you not exist before the sound?
Yes.
And now after the sound?
Yes.
Yes. It's not that both have risen and fallen. There was a sound consciousness and a sound which arose together. This is called the experience of sound. That is true. But they fell together also. But there is a base consciousness which you are. So finally, is it not an appearance in you, the consciousness? Just like everything you see, everything we hear, everything we taste, everything we touch, everything we think, remember, desire, hate, love, regret, enjoy, understand, all of those are appearances. One constant, unshakable is you, the consciousness. These appearances do not constitute a countable second apart from you, the consciousness. Therefore, non-duality. You're welcome. You are the non-dual Brahman. Couple of questions and we have got. What produces? Nothing produces. That's the thing. No object is produced. No. See, what I'm saying is this thing with the object is also you, the consciousness. That's why non-duality. It's amazing that because of the power of Maya, it seems to be your own object. Yes, go on, Ram Gopal. Ask the question. I've told you the name, your name.
Yes, Swamiji. So my question was, in consciousness appears the world, but why can't it be like separate individual consciousness? What's the argument against that?
Yeah, that's the old Sankhyan versus Advaitic argument. So this Advaitin turns the question around. How would you distinguish individual consciousnesses? How would you distinguish individual consciousnesses? You can distinguish individual bodies. Clearly you can count. You can distinguish individual personalities. You can give them psychological tests and you can see they're different people, different personalities, different thoughts. All of these you can make an individual. But apart from body and mind, consciousness itself is different. We have an intuitive feeling. We are different entities. That's true. But Vedanta is saying this difference is due to differences in body-mind, but not differences in consciousness. There is a difference in reflected consciousness also. The consciousness that we feel is different from in each case. But the source of that, or the one consciousness there, just like the sunlight shining on all the planets. Each of the planets is reflecting different light, but the source of all that is one sun. Then the Sankhyans will come up with arguments why each consciousness is different. Sankhyans will say, oh, if all consciousness were the same, then the birth of one would be the birth of all, the death of one would be the death of all. No, the birth is birth of the body. One body can be born, another body can die, and third one can be living, and the same consciousness can be reflecting in all of them. Then they will say, no, but if consciousness is one, then if one is awake, all will be awake. One falls asleep, all will fall asleep. No, awake and falling asleep is mind. One mind can be awake and reflecting consciousness, another mind may be sleeping and not reflecting consciousness. So consciousness may be the same. So, and then they ask questions, they ask things like, if we are all one consciousness, the enlightenment of one would be the enlightenment of all. It would be very nice, my guru is enlightened, I will also become enlightened. No, unfortunately. Enlightenment is also in the mind, it's not in consciousness. So there is no way of distinguishing individual consciousnesses without resorting to body-mind. That's why it's one consciousness.
Maharaj, just one follow-up question. So, because there is no way of distinguishing individual consciousnesses, then it's probably impossible to prove that there are other consciousnesses. But how do you prove that there is just one? Like, how do you positively prove that there is just one consciousness, illumining all? What is the Advaitic argument for that?
Because you cannot distinguish. To distinguish, you must have a case for it. Clearly, you have one consciousness. Right now, you feel that you are one. Where is the second consciousness? Notice, you can see the bodies of others. You can see the behavior of others. You can hear the speech of others. But can you locate their consciousness? If you are a telepath who can read the thoughts of others, you will be able to read their thoughts. But you cannot ever objectify their consciousness. That's also a clue to the unity of consciousness, or oneness, not even unity, oneness of consciousness. Another interesting clue, this comes from language though. Notice, we use the same word for the same object. When I say bottle and you say bottle, we both mean this thing. But it's strange, both of us say I, but we mean different things. You say I, you mean something different. I say I mean something different. I for me is not the I for you. Vertical I. This I is the same. If I say this I, you can also say this I, and we can both refer to the same thing. But both of us cannot use the word I in the same sense. So we are all different individuals. How strange that is. We are using the same word. You might say, no, Maharaj, my kidney is different from your kidney. But when the kidney is pointed out, you and doctor can both agree that is the same kidney. But you and doctor cannot ever agree it's the same I. What is I for you will become you for me. Strange. Advaita says, because this is a falsity. The I for everybody is the same I. Just like word bottle refers to the same bottle for everybody, I also refers to the same I, but that is the real I. That's a linguistic clue. Another thing, yeah, that's a good point she makes. This is Vivekananda's argument. Infinity is only one. Very good point. If you say the ultimate reality must be limitless, but limitless can be only one. Every other than that one will constitute a limit to that one. In mathematics, you can have multiple infinities. But really, philosophically, there can be only one infinity. Infinity means no limit at all. No limit in time, no limit in space, no limit in object. So multiple consciousnesses will mean limited objects. One consciousness is not the other consciousness. You're right. Logically, this is Vivekananda used this argument. In fact, he used this argument to cut down Sankhya. This is where Advaita differs from Sankhya. Sankhya says Purusha is consciousness, infinite consciousness. Vivekananda holds, wait just a minute, infinite consciousness? And then you say Bahupurushavada, multiple infinities? It cannot be. Then each infinity will limit the other infinity. Because I am infinite consciousness except you. Then I am not infinite, I stop where you start. So yeah, that's a really powerful argument. Thank you.
Thank you.
Last question.
Thank you, Swami. This is Deepak, for those who don't know me. So my question is based on your talk yesterday, and also partly actually related to the question just asked, and maybe I've asked you this question before too. So what is consciousness? I think we spent a lot of time on, and our experiences, our existence are all in consciousness. I think the congregation here is all on board. The question that you raised yourself yesterday, that in the past has also come up, is not what, but why. Why consciousness? And you gave two explanations yesterday. One was Maya, and the other was it's because it's nature. It's its nature. Maya, to me at least, feels like we don't have a good answer, so it's a little bit of a sleight of hand. Pardon my saying that. And even saying something is its nature is also really saying we don't know. We could say, why does the sun shine? It shines because it's its nature. Before physics came and told us what happens with the sun and all the nuclear reactions there, it's its nature, right? It's really a way of saying we don't know. So an alternate and very kindergarten kind of explanation in this setting would be, why not turn to dualism? Why not posit that there is a God, and that's why there is consciousness. God created the world, God created consciousness. Everything that we've discussed is consistent with that, with a greater Brahman, Satchidanand, sitting on top, right? And that would answer the question of the why. Everything that we experience, that our experiences are in consciousness, there is only one consciousness, none of that is inconsistent with that explanation, and it's actually an explanation that appeals to billions in the world, right? So my kindergarten question is, what is wrong with that?
True. But if you say our own individualized consciousness, I would entirely agree with you. There is an Ishvara who is responsible for the entire universe, and that Ishvara is also responsible for these bodies and our minds and the reflected consciousness therein. But that's not what we are talking about. Then the question comes up, what is the nature of God? Is that God conscious or non-conscious? Is that God existent or non-existent? If you say God is existent, if it is existence, that's what we are talking about. This consciousness is also existence itself, Sat and Chit. Then we are talking about the same reality. And that Sat Chit is appearing as all of this world. If you say dualistically, but then it's not dualistic. If we are all existing beings and that God is existence itself, we cannot be separate from that God. If that God is also an existing being and we are also existing beings, there must be something more fundamental than both.
Why does that have to be?
Then you can ask the question, so where is this God? What is this God? Because
we just don't know.
We just don't know, but that would... No, but yeah, right. But it would also be, like this, that positing something, that something to make everything match. Whereas the Advaitic idea is very interesting because it points to something right here, right now. Existence and consciousness of this experience which we are having. That's all we have. The beauty of the Advaitic idea is it plunges and investigates into our lived experience, not positing an entity apart from a third entity, I, world, and God, who is responsible, I and the world, who is responsible for both.
Why can't we have all this with God? That's my question.
We have all this with God, in fact. That's what Advaita says. World, you, God, who created the world, and you, but all of you are underlying one reality. That one reality is Brahman. Yeah. It is revealed by an investigation into our own experience. And just logically, this sound, it's clearly experienced in awareness. What is the relationship of this sound to awareness? That is exactly the nature of the question about the entire universe and we experiencing this universe. See, these things, they cover all of it. Various options. Anyway, so these are investigations. The dualistic approach actually depends a lot on faith.
But why consciousness depends on faith too?
No, not really.
Because we don't have an answer? Why?
No, even the question itself is wrong. That's what Vivekananda would say. See, look at the nature of the question. Why consciousness? Why consciousness? So, what do you mean by why? We are asking for a cause. I've said this on different occasions, but this is borrowed from Vivekananda. We are asking for a cause, causality. Where there is a cause and an effect, then why will answer this. Why is the rain there? Because of the clouds. Why are the clouds there? Because of the sun. Why is the sun shining? As you said, because of fusion reaction, and so on. But if you ask why about the whole causality itself, it doesn't work. It's like asking what is outside space. You've already accepted space, then you can ask a question like what is outside and inside. What is before time? Physicists have to deal with such questions. But before time does not make sense because you already, before and after are time words. You've already accepted time. Then there is a before and an after. What is the cause of something? You've already accepted causality, cause and effect. But if you're saying that there is something beyond causality, there's no causality there, then you can't ask a why of that. And Maya includes time, space and causality. So from Maya downwards it makes sense to say why this or why that. Give me a cause of that, give me a cause of that. Even in dualistic religion, all the whys end with God, and God is called the first cause in every dualistic religion which believes in God. God is called the first cause. There is no cause of God. We chant Swayambhu. Swayambhu is self-manifested, self-created. That means you can never ask the question why God. You can't push beyond that. Vedanta gives you an answer why you cannot ask why. Because why means causality, why means Maya. From Maya downwards you can ask why. But before Maya you cannot ask why. And there's a logical reason. It's not a stipulation, not a rule. Don't ask. There's a reason because even the question why involves some assumption that there is a causal link. Now you see what we did yesterday. Atha shuddham bhavet vastu. The pure reality, that is the ultimate reality, is beyond causality. When we said clay is the cause, material cause, pot is the effect. But there is no such thing as a pot really apart from the clay. Therefore, what is the clay a cause of? It is beyond cause and effect. And so we come to the reality like that. Existence, consciousness, bliss, or pure being itself is beyond cause and effect. But every existing thing is within cause and effect. For everything in the universe you can ask a why. But for the reality in which the universe appears, including causality appears, time appears, space appears, for that one you can't ask where is it? When is it? Why is it? Where, when, why, all appear in it. Which one? This one? No, because you are the fundamental. Are you a hypothesis? No. You are the reality itself. See, this very thing, the clay pot example, one sadhu explained it. In Hindi, he was explaining. Look at the clay, mitti or ghada, clay and pot. There is a pot space, a pot time and a pot shape. None of them are in the clay. The shape of the pot, the space enclosed by the pot is not in the clay at all. The roundness of the shape of the pot is not in the clay at all. And even when the clay is there in at the form of a pot, it belongs to the pot, the shape does not belong to the clay at all. The clay is never round. Now, the time of the pot, there was a time when it was not a pot, there was a time when it is a pot, when the time it's broken, it's not a pot anymore. That has no reference to the clay. Clay was clay, clay is clay, clay continues to be clay. And then the space, shape, the desha, the space enclosed by the pot is not the space enclosed by the clay. So the time, space and object of this universe has no causal link with the underlying reality. That's the interesting thing. For example, the dreamer, another example of dreamer and dream. You have a dream world. There is a causality going on in the dream world. Some good things happen, some bad things happen. You can ask questions and give answers in the dream world. But the whole thing appears in you, the mind. There is no causal link between the events and the characters in the dream world and the mind. Just as there is no causal link between, say, the characters of the Harry Potter book and the page on which it is written. Similarly.
Why is though that inconsistent with the God in heaven? Why is Mandukya inconsistent?
No, it's not inconsistent. God, world and individual are all supported by Advaita. It just Advaita says that there is an underlying reality to all three of them. God is the cause, and as you said, God is the cause, and the world and individuals are the effect. In Mandukya Upanishad, there are three. There is the waker and the waker's world, that is the gross universe. There is the sleeper and deep and the sleeping, the dreamer and the dream world, and the deep sleeper and the deep sleep world. At the cosmic level, the deep sleeper and the deep sleep world is the cause of the entire universe, and that corresponds to Ishvara or God. So that one is created. So it's as if we have all emerged from our deep sleep state. Whatever was in the deep sleep is the seed of what we see around us now. I mean, as a person, I was in the seed form. Similarly, the whole cosmos in the seed form is Ishvara. But the whole thing, there is a fourth underlying all three, the causal and the cause and the effect. So all three are supported by, so there was a debate between the Advaitin and Dvaitins. And Dvaitins furiously attacked the Advaitin by saying, no, why will you not accept God and Jiva and Jagat? And the Advaitin says, we have no conflict at all. Everything that you say is fully accepted by us, except one. You say that's the final thing. We say there is another final thing below that also, more foundational. So God, individual, world, devotion, God creating the world, all of that is accepted. Except that there is an underlying reality which is Brahman. Right.
Thank you, sir.
There is no conflict between the cinema screen and the plot of the cinema. And not only that, the plot of the cinema is enabled by the cinema screen. You might say, yeah, but that's a nice way of saying it's a movie, it didn't happen. That's true. That's what dualists find so galling about Advaita Vedanta. There's no conflict at all. As Shankaracharya points out in his commentary on the Mandukya, there's no conflict between the reality and appearance.
So can you say the same thing about Vijnana and Advaita? There's no conflict? Because they attack Advaita.
They means only Ayan Maharaj. Vijnana Vedanta is not a school. It's beginning to become a school, yes. And Ayan Maharaj is a pioneer, no doubt. Yeah. I regard it as an extension of Advaita Vedanta and an application as building upon Advaita Vedanta. Definitely a much wider vision than Advaita Vedanta.
But we also have a wider vision.
Yes, of course. You can limit yourself to the classical Advaita, or you can extend further. See, limiting means, see, for example, so we have time for Arati time? Over, yes. We can discuss it later. Just one idea thrown out there. If it is the same, look at the consequences of Vijnana and the consequences of Advaita. Harmony of religions, harmony of science and religion, the doctrine of service, seva, all of them flow from the Vijnana concept, Vijnana doctrine. They do not flow from Advaita. You can make it flow from there, but it has not been done. It's not against Advaita Vedanta. To serve beings, is it against Advaita? Not at all. Harmony of science and religion, is it against Advaita? Not at all. Harmony between different religions, is it against Advaita? Not at all. But notice, in the last 1,000 years, nobody drew these consequences in classical Advaita Vedanta. But these consequences are directly drawn from Vivekananda's exposition of Sri Ramakrishna's teachings and Vedanta. But that is also not possible without classical Vedanta. Vivekananda himself says it builds upon classical Vedanta. Okay. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.